Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the New Generation Sobriety Podcast. Today, we're joined by Johnathan. How are we today?
Hey, how's it going? It's nice to be on again.
Welcome back for another episode. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the suicidal ideation that comes along with addiction. We're going to talk about kind of what our second step looked like, turning your life over to the care of God as we understood Him. So we're going to share our experiences with that, what that kind of looked like for us. And there's a couple points Johnathan wanted to talk about as well. So, do you want to share those?
Yeah, so we'll be chatting lots about mental health in general, especially with the cold season that we have right now, and moving forward and how we can change our behaviors and our thoughts to be a little bit more positive when we're feeling down and blue, and some of the different statistics that go along with mental health and addiction.
Yeah, so when I was in rehab for treatment, I want to kind of start there. There was a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Where stats are proven,
Yes.
like researched backed, like it's proven. They've done lots of research studies on it, and there was like graphs and like actual statistics, right? And it was there was some that I actually took notes on, and I kind of wanted to share. One thing that I always found really interesting was like the fact that so normal, like when we're just going about our day and stuff, right? Like our dopamine level is supposed to sit around 40. That's like regular. As far as I know, like that's what I got copied down. So
Okay.
don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be around 40. And then when certain food, like that you have certain like sweets and stuff like that, it can
Yeah,
spike it to like 150.
for sure.
And then as soon as you get into like the sex, alcohol, nicotine, it goes up to like 250, right?
Right.
And then you get into cocaine, goes to 350. Opiates, 500. And then meth is like 1350.
Mhm.
I think they talked about gambling and stuff in there, but I didn't get that far. I only copied that much down. But like, as far as I know, the dopamine release from gambling is like 10 times higher than most things.
Really?
That was proven as well when I went to rehab. But um, I just thought that was very interesting that like when we're doing these things like interactive addiction, right? Like we're doing pills or
Mhm.
cocaine or even alcohol, nicotine, stuff like that. Like we're spiking our dopamine,
That's right.
and then
Exactly.
it goes right back down to 40 where it's supposed to, and it
Hmm.
goes even lower than that, right?
Right.
So then we're craving it again.
That's it.
So I don't know. Do you have any experience with like dopamine levels being off?
For sure. And I know one thing that I like to try and start my day with, something as simple as a cold shower, can increase your dopamine up to 700 times what cocaine can even do. So managing that dopamine level is very important. And if you're artificially increasing it with things like sugar or gambling or alcohol or other sorts of substances, this isn't a good way because your brain becomes used to that. You actually wear out that transmitter inside of your brain.
Yeah, it's like, don't we develop like what do they call them, neural pathways or something?
You do. You're developing new neural pathways, new patterns that you do consistently over and over again. And when you burn those out and when you stop increasing your dopamine with the drug or whatever it is or the sugar, it takes time for those receptors to come back down to a normal state flow.
Yeah. Um, so that graph that we were talking about off air, I'll pop
Yes.
it up on the screen right now. Do you kind of want to talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, for sure. So we have a graph here.
I'll pop it up on your guys' screen.
Yes. And it's crazy to me to think that people that tend to commit suicide, the highest age range is people between 50 and 60 years old. And the highest rate is in men over women.
We lose, I'm pretty sure it's like 5 men per minute or something like that.
I've got on here, it's 12 people every single day.
Yeah.
So
So I was
approximately
way off, but
4,500 deaths a year just to suicide. So far this year, that's 432 people. This year's just begun. We've already lost close to 500 people to suicide.
so just with saying that, we just want you guys to know that you're never alone. I say this often. You're never alone in this battle. If nobody's told you in a long time that like you're doing a good job, like I am proud of you. Like there are people out there that um are proud of you, you know? Like they do see your progress, and it's not going to happen overnight, but just know that you're not alone, and you don't have to, you know, let it get to suicide and things like that, right?
That's right. And that's one thing we see in a lot of youth too. Youths are from the ages of 15 to 34. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for them. And I mean, men are 3 times higher compared to women, depending on what the topic is in terms of suicide. I mean, women tend to have a higher risk if a woman has ADHD, but that can be a little different.
Yeah. So one of the questions I kind of wanted to talk about was like did you have suicidal ideation, or you feel comfortable talking about that at all?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, of course. I mean, ever since a young age, I think I was, 12 years old the first time I
so for
tried to
someone
do
that doesn't know what
something.
that is, what would could you give them like a little rundown of what suicidal ideation is? Say they've never heard that before.
Suicidal ideation. Oh boy.
I didn't know what that was until last year, man.
Yeah, I would say it's somebody that is feeling an immense amount of trauma and somebody that can't handle what's going on with life right now. And they seem to think that the best way out is to just stop dealing with life in general in that moment. I guess that's how I would describe a suicidal ideation.
So kind of the thing that I understood from it though was like suicidal ideation is like not actually like attempting to take your life, but just thinking
No,
about it, right?
even just thinking about it,
Like
right?
not telling anybody, but just having those thoughts that you don't tell nobody, that you just bury them, right?
That's right. And that's where being cognitive of where you're creating that brain pattern. Because if you're constantly thinking that way, your brain's going to start taking that lead in your brain more and more.
Yeah. Like for me, like I had those thoughts and then I would just try and shove them away. Like they were like I would try to deny them almost like,
Yeah.
like you can't think that, right? Like that's not, but they were there
Yeah.
and I didn't choose for them to be there, but like that's the devil speaking to you, right?
That's
So,
it. Yeah.
um, in my experience, like also, I oftentimes things like with ADHD, it's often said that we like when we feel something, it's like there's like a bar, right? And it's
Mm,
like as soon as we feel an emotion, that bar goes straight to maxed out. Like
right.
we feel things to an extreme like degree, right? Happy, you're super happy. Sad, super sad. So like when I was in my addiction, a lot of times bad things would happen, or I would create a big mess for myself, right?
Right.
And then I would get switched into this like mentality where like almost like I'm the victim, right? And I would start feeling bad for myself, and like that's when those suicidal ideation thoughts would come in for me.
Right. And if you've got something going on in general, but then you have something else like ADHD on top of that, even adults with ADHD are 50% more likely to have suicidal ideations or have attempted that compared to the general public of people that don't say have ADHD.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Um, so the next point that I wanted to talk about would be, could we walk through like your step two experience? Tell me about when you turned your will and life over to the care of God, and kind of what that looked like for you.
What did that look like for me? I grew up in the church, so I always did follow and believe to a degree, but there were a lot of times where I swayed away from my faith. And diving back into that, I came to a point where I knew I couldn't continue to go on the way that I was. And I was already taking steps to try and improve my life and mental health, but I came to a point where I had to make it formal. So for me, it was, getting down on my knees and saying a prayer, having a quick little cry about it, and knowing, asking God for help. I mean, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not be okay. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. But sometimes we have to know that we need to ask somebody else. We need to go for outside help. You need something more
Yeah,
than just yourself. And for me, there's, therapists and going to meetings, but the biggest thing that I need in my back pocket was God. And that's why I had to run to ask for help.
100%. And like
How did that look like for you?
for me, it was like I for the first time I had to like you said, get down on my knees and pray. Not just a lot of times my prayers were in my head, right? And
Yeah,
I with ADHD, and I'm sure a lot of people do, but I'm talking to myself in my head all day, every day, anyways, man. So it's like a prayer is not really that sincere if I'm just doing it in my head. So
right.
I had to actually start, getting down on my knees for the first time. And like, even if I just whisper it, like I tend to, if I can, if I'm by myself in a room, I'll say my prayer out loud.
Out loud, yeah.
Um, I pray for other people too. And like actually admitting to God in my prayer, like, when I was in detox, I said it. And then 5, 6 months ago in October, when I gave my life to God again, and I was like actually saved this time. And like what I told him was, like my life feels like a puzzle, man. And like, God, I'm just trying to take all these puzzle pieces that don't fit and I'm trying to jam them into places where they don't fit, right? And
Mm.
I know that if I just give this puzzle piece to you, you'll put it where it belongs. So I told him, I said, like, I give it all to you, Lord. And that night, my life changed, like, completely. I'm not going to say my anxieties were gone, but they
No.
were manageable, man. And it's because I admitted that I was not able to do it on my own. I needed him, right?
Right.
So,
That's the thing, the struggle is real. No matter how much praying you're doing, no matter how much recovery stuff you're doing, you are still going to struggle. Things are still going to suck, but it's how you manage it when it does suck.
exactly. And sometimes that for me, that meant praying 10 times a day, man. Like, I remember being at work sometimes, like, if I had a little second where I knew I was going to be alone for a minute or two, I would get on my knees, say a quick 30-second prayer. Like, and then a lot of people get that like confused. For a long time, I was like, dude, I don't know where I learned this, but growing up, I thought a prayer had to be like proper, like it had to be something that was written out, like, and we had to memorize it and say it exactly how it's. No, like a prayer is just a conversation between you and God, man.
Exactly.
Like
It's
if you're
anything.
struggling with something, cast your anxieties onto Him, give Him thanks for what you do have. Pray for other people.
It's it. It can be something as simple as, driving to work and you're a little frustrated because you're running behind and it's just like, God, I can't do this. Help me. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be lengthy. It can be simple as help.
Yeah, exactly. I thank God every day that we have that like ability to, have that line of communication with Him. Like, and I think we got to use it to our advantage. Like we can at any time we forget that we can just call upon Him at any time, and we're very lucky for that. But yeah, next point would be, um, what were some things that you learned in rehab or in detox or like in early recovery that kind of helped you to like fight those thoughts that you were having? Like because at the start of recovery, you're a lot of times for me, I was doubting myself. I was
Mm.
like not really sure, but I was just going with it because I knew I had to, and I felt like I had people to hold me accountable. I was asking God for help, and I actually wanted it this time, right? So, but what did that look like for you?
Well, for me, a lot of that was, my lifestyle. I had to come up with a routine. Daily exercise is very important to me. You know, routine is key, doing things over and over again the same way every morning, but also not letting myself sway too far off the beaten path. You know,
And for somebody that like has never, prayed before, but they like believe in God and stuff, like, do you have any kind of tips for them about like what they should do? Like, cause
it's simple. It's simple. Keep it simple. It doesn't have to be anything complex. It can be as simple as help me. That's it.
100%. Because in the beginning, like I was, asking people, like I overanalyze things. And I'm like, am I praying right? Like, I think I don't think there's a wrong way to pray, really.
No,
It's a conversation between you and Him, right?
that's it.
Um, so did you want to kind of talk a little bit, circling back to like the stats on suicide and stuff? I kind of wanted to touch on like the link between ADHD and suicide and stuff like that. Do you
Sure.
want to kind of fire off some points there?
Yeah, so a simple thing that I have here, the stats in Canada, adults with ADHD have a significant higher risk, approximately 14% more compared to the general population. And in women with ADHD are particularly vulnerable, um, compared to 9% of men with ADHD. So it, you know, to have the thoughts in the first place isn't a good thing, but when you've got something else to pair that with, like ADHD, that can lay a significant impact with the way that you're feeling inside of your head.
Yeah, like I said, it tends to like make us almost like feel those feelings to like a hyper extent,
Exactly.
right? Like it,
Yeah, you get hyper fixate on them for sure.
yeah. And for me, I found a lot of times like it's almost like when you're in that spot where you're, struggling a lot and feel like there's no way to go except like for me when I was gambling and stuff, I got to the point where, you need money to live, right?
Right.
So I was like, God, either like let me win this, let me win one of these, give me like a good win, or like I take me out, like give me a
Yeah.
reason to. There was days where like I just knew where my life was headed, man, and I would rather not like be.
You don't
I would,
want to see it. You don't want to deal with it, eh?
yeah, I didn't want to put my family through that. I didn't like. I don't know. That's where those thoughts came in, right? But
Yeah.
then I had the Lord in the back of my mind, right, telling
Mhm.
me, that you are worth it. You can do this. You need to go get help, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, do you want to kind of talk a little bit about what that looked like in your experience? Like, because when did you get sober in 2020? What, 2023?
24. Yeah.
24? So we're going back to like peak addiction. Like,
Big addiction. You know what? I couldn't manage to, string myself up or anything like that. But in that time, I was playing Russian roulette. I'd get loaded up and I knew I was driving somewhere. And if I made it, cool. If I didn't, alrighty. And I did that over and over again for a long period of time. Suicide's something I've struggled with ever since I was a young kid. And even now, even in today, I still from time to time have those thoughts. But I've learned how to put them down and make it so they're not nearly as strong as what they were before. And now I can manage it in a whole different way that I couldn't before.
and how do you do that?
For me, it's simple. It's really simple for me now. It's prayer. It's changing, reframing my thoughts, trying to change my negatives into a positive, and trying to see that I am still here. You are still here, and there's something more for me to do in this life than what I can even comprehend right now. But as long as I'm still breathing, I still got work to do.
100%, man. And like for me, that looked like, you know, praying, obviously. I had to let him in. I had to ask for help, let him take the wheel, let him take that puzzle piece, put it where it needs to go, even if I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, what I found was the situation wasn't the problem. Yeah, it
No.
might have been crappy or whatever, but like it was my perspective, my heart, all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times in my prayer, I had to stop asking God, God, please change this or get me out of this or that. Instead, I had to ask him, change my heart. Like if
Yeah.
if this is not your will
Yeah.
for me, like show me your will, make it clear to me, like um put people in my path that will make it clear to me, like show me what you want me to do
Yeah.
instead of because for a long time, man, I was self-seeking. Like
That's yeah.
I was living good intentions, man, but everything was like deep down it was about me, like
That's it.
about what could make Logan feel the best, right?
Yeah. It's all me, right? And then you
Yeah,
gotta learn, what can I offer to somebody else? How can I help somebody else in some way?
100%, man. um what's the next thing here? So if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't challenge you.
If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And, there's a lot of things in life that are challenging that make us not want to, it can be so frustrating to the point where you just don't know. You don't know how to get there. But, if things were easy, everybody would be walking around a millionaire right now. And
100%.
things aren't easy. They are going to be tough. They are going to be hard. But it's those people that can stand back and push through the tough times. And everybody is capable of it. if you're still here, if you're still breathing, when things frustrate you, you can continue to push past the frustrating stages. And eventually, I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen overnight. It might not happen this year or next year, but 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, you continue to work on whatever the heck it is you're working on, you will see something good and beautiful come out of that. I mean, there's people, Colonel Sanders is an excellent example of this. Guy was 60 years old, broke out of his mind. Then he found out, oh, I'm good at making fried chicken. And then he opened up his first KFC at 60 years old.
Yeah, I often with I'm 20, right? And I get worried about my future, and everybody always tells me, you're still young, right?
Yeah.
And like,
And I find it's so easy, especially for somebody with ADHD, right, to get ahead of yourself.
yeah,
And you really got to learn how to take that step back.
you're staying today.
And you got to stand, you got to crawl, and then you can walk a little bit, and then you can start running. And then before you know it, you'll be off to the races. But it takes time. You got to start with the first step.
100%, man. So I wanted to also touch on some outlets for depression, anxiety, and suicide. Like,
Hmm.
what are some ways that someone struggling with these things can get help?
Well, if you're struggling, depending to what degree, I mean, it's always good to, you can do the basic things, talk to a therapist, go to meetings, yada, yada. If you are in crisis, like absolute crisis, like today's the day, there is a phone number you can call 1-833-456-4566. That is the Talk Suicide Canada helpline. And if you are in crisis, please reach out to somebody. But there are other healthy outlets if we're not at that stage yet. Things like exercise, routine are key. Digging into your hobbies. It could be something as simple as basket weaving. If basket weaving's your thing, weave a darn basket.
Yeah,
Do whatever you can. And sometimes, I have days where I don't even want to get out of bed or do anything. And it can be as simple as, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go make a coffee.
yeah,
Let's take a shower, take care of yourself a little bit, and then move on to the next step, whether if it's editing a photo or working on a video or whatever it is, going for a run, hitting the gym, hanging out with a good friend that can help you, that you can share your struggle with.
100%. And for me, it was like routine stuff like that. Like you said, there's days where I don't even want to get up and do things, right? But it's that, okay, get up, make your bed, have a shower, just do something productive, and it'll just start rolling from there, right? And it's not always easy. It's a full-time job.
It certainly
It's
is.
not just gonna be all sunshine and rainbows, right? But like the things that I was learning when I went to rehab were things like routine. Um, eat breakfast in the morning, even though I'm not really that hungry. It's just like
Mhm.
healthy habit to put something in your body.
Absolutely.
Socialize with people, make a gratitude list,
That's
connect with
a great one.
people, stuff like that, pray. These were things that I had never really done or incorporated into my day because all I really did was like eat, sleep, worry about work and school and my job, or sorry, work, school, and like hockey or whatever.
Mhm.
And then I would worry about how I can get drunk or high or gamble,
Yeah.
like I didn't have routine
Mhm.
at all. So that was something that was like essential for me was like I had 21 days or 19 days of um, just like actual healthy, solid routine, right?
Mhm.
And I
And
don't
what
know
was
that
the biggest thing you had to do in order to change your routine to be a little bit more positive through your day-to-day life?
get up at a consistent time every day, and do the things that I didn't really want to do. That like once you're kind of get into being an adult and stuff, no one's gonna force you to do them.
That's right.
Just the things that you should be doing.
Yeah, something as simple as, making your bed. Make your bed every day. I mean, I live here on my own and I don't need to make my bed every
Yeah,
day, but I do. It's part of my routine.
100%. And a lot of times the gratitude list helped. Like it helped me to reframe my mind to be like grateful for the day instead of like I don't know. I was just always kind of in like a negative mindset before, but it's hard to be negative when you're being grateful, right?
That's it. Yeah.
So,
Gratitude's huge in that sense.
um, it's definitely not going to be easy. doing stuff like this. For me, I struggled for a long time.
Mm.
I had someone message me saying that they were struggling with, fitting in, finding like-minded people. What would you give them as some advice for that?
Yeah, I mean, we're pack animals. You got to stay in the pack. You got to find your pack. You got to run with the winners. And for somebody that's struggling with that, it's good to try and find an outlet that's healthy. And for somebody like me, I went to a lot of meetings, and those were good, like AA meetings, and those helped me find people that had similar mind thought or mindsets as me in order to change and improve. But also, if you belong to a church, getting involved with your church, getting involved with your community. You know,
100%, man. And even like, like just texting somebody from recovery, or like get that phone number, just shoot them a text. It's not weird to text somebody, like just
you know,
check how their day's going, like you need that connection.
that's it. Yeah.
Um, for me, I didn't have much connection when I was in my active addiction unless you had alcohol or you were going to drink with me,
Hmm.
or like we were gambling together, or like you had money and I needed money, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't have any genuine like connections. So like now that I'm in recovery, not doing those things, like having like solid connections is like one of the things that keeps me, grounded.
Yeah.
Um,
And what would you say for somebody that, picking up that phone feels like it's 1,000 pounds?
kind of like what you said for get up in the morning, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just do it.
Mm.
Like a lot of times you don't want to make that call, you don't want to disturb them, but then like a lot of times you call and what do they normally say?
Hey, how's it going?
Like, I'm happy you called,
Yeah.
blah blah blah,
It's nice
right?
to hear from you. That's right.
Exactly. Um, so I don't know. I just find that for me, I would just say let them decide. Like let them decide if you're being a burden or whatever. Like if
Yeah.
they don't want to answer, they'll just let it go to voicemail, right?
That's right.
If they're busy or whatever, like they won't answer. But you never know unless you try.
That's it. And I always think it's good to, if you're worried or nervous or you don't want to try something, try it and then decide if it's for you or not for you.
Yeah,
What's the worst thing that can happen? Somebody's going to say no? Okay. Well, at least you tried it.
100%, man. Um, was there a couple more points that you wanted to address before we kind of get at? I was gonna announce the giveaway today. I was doing a 500 follower giveaway,
Yeah.
so we're gonna announce that today. At the end of this episode. But yeah,
How would you talk to somebody if you were talking face to face with somebody that was struggling right now?
I would tell them, I would give them my phone number, and I would beg them to reach out to me. I would reassure them that that I'm not just saying
But what if I
text
don't want
me.
to burden you?
Man, it would make my day better if you texted me telling me you were struggling with something and we could talk it out. That would actually make me happy, and I would like make my day.
Yeah.
So that's like you're not burdening me at all.
You
That's what I
sure?
would tell for sure, man. Like I would start texting them throughout the day almost. Part of me wants to text them and check in with them, right?
Yeah.
So, um, I don't know. Like and I would invite them to a meeting.
Mhm.
Ask them if they want to go for coffee, do something, because that was something that I also felt like when I got sober, I didn't really have much of was people like I lost a lot of friends and stuff
Yeah.
because like the people that I thought were my friends just wanted to drink with me and party and stuff. Like as soon as I stopped drinking, they all disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
So like I found out who my real friends were, and like when those people were like saying, "Hey man, you want to go for coffee?" Blah blah blah. It was like, whoa,
Yeah.
like yeah, I do. Like you know what I mean. So um, what about you? What would you say?
What would I say to somebody that was struggling? You're not alone. You're
You're not
still
alone in
here.
this for
You're not
sure.
alone. You're still here. You're still breathing. There's a reason to continue on. You're going to do something in your life that's bigger than yourself, that's bigger than you and I.
100%. Um,
You are loved.
exactly.
You've got a family behind you. You've got friends that care about you. You know, who's going to do your job if you're not here, honestly?
100%. There's people out there that need to hear your story, right? They're waiting to, relate to you, connect with you. And I don't know, I just think there's much more to life than what like I was searching for in that bottle, man, or in that
Yeah.
slot machine.
And a lot of things I find they seem like it's such a big deal, but when you stop, take a step back and look at it, you realize that problem that you had, it seems really big right now, but it's just a little hiccup, a little speed bump. And
100%.
once you're over it, you start to gain that momentum again and keep on going. And then you look back, years later, months down the road, maybe even, wow, that thing back then, it really wasn't that bad.
100%, dude. Um, yeah, is there anything else that you kind of wanted to address here before we announce the giveaway?
No, I think that basically covers it.
Cool.
Mental health is important, and if you are struggling, reach out. It's okay. We all go through tough times. But I'm telling you, things will get better. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not even next year. But time and time again, eventually, if you continue to push forward, things will change for the better.
100%, man. I like that.
Good things do take time.
100%, dude. And be be like, give yourself some slack. Like, this isn't easy. And it's like, just because you don't see the progress after 1 or 2 days, like you said, it's gonna take time.
Yeah, that delayed gratification thing, right? And that's where tying that back into our dopamine levels, it can be very discouraging for some people that are trying to move forward in their life.
100%. So this is the moment you guys have probably been waiting for. Someone's about to get some free merch. We're giving away a black logo crew neck for 500 followers. We have, I think, 14 entries, 13 or 14 entries. So we're going to pull the camera over here.
And the winner is Sarah.
Sarah wins a hoodie. Also, so congratulations, Sarah. I will drop that hoodie off for you, and I will message you. These are still available. I think I have quite a few of these left if you're interested. It's just a black logo crew neck. And then our newest drop is black hoodie. You want to check the camera, Johnny? Make sure it's all good. And then on the back we got and then we also got them in t-shirts. Just the logo on the front with "By the Grace of God" on the back. I don't have a website set up yet, so if you guys are interested in getting some of those, you can just message me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Yeah, so we just want to thank you guys for watching this episode. Johnathan is going to be showing up quite a few more episodes coming up here soon.
For sure. We got some exciting things coming up.
100%. We'll also throw his tag above my head here. And yeah, thanks for watching this episode, guys. Peace.